Hello.
How you doing?
I'm quite excellent. How about y'all?
Oh, fine, fine. Just doing our thing here, as
You're
you know.
a champion of the stream right now. God, how many hours have you been going? 7 hours?
7 and change. Yeah, we'll be going to 12.
Wow.
At least that's the goal. We did it yesterday and last weekend Sunday. Well, that's the hope.
That's a heck of a weekend.
Battleship line, let's go.
Yeah. So bar floor, huh?
Bar floor. More of a torp boat than anything else, it seems like, right?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really look at it that much. Where is it? There it is. 12-kilometer range. Actually have a secondary gun on it? That's kind of funny.
Yeah, massive secondaries, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Cremoa, it's already out. Okay.
I think it's in the War's Over box.
Okay.
You can just straight buy it too, but it seems overpriced.
It is. or you can get 2 free containers and drop it like me, because the luck never ends.
Damn, Toxic, congratulations.
Hey,
That was me with
I
the,
hit the button and was like, yo, the animation's pretty dope. Wait, I got something.
Y'all watch the animations?
It's a
Why
new
not?
one. Like, there's a whole, like, it like flies through a workshop and everything.
Huh.
Like, when you drop a
just been
ship,
using-
there's a new animation.
They put the open all button in. I've just been using that.
Oh, no, like, that's what I do, too. I'm saying when you get the ship, there's an actual
Oh,
thing that happens.
specifically when you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the
it was
ship.
neat.
It overrides that and puts a thing
Yes.
in. Oh, neat.
Yeah, there's some nice new stuff out there to kind of feel even more awesome about popping a ship.
So, question I wanted to ask you, somebody who's been so involved in the WoWS community for basically ever, as a new guy and new kid on the block, I'm still trying to get my feet wet, and obviously a lot of learning to do as far as gameplay and as everything is regarding. But the big question I have is just like, as you've seen so many community managers in the past and in the future, and kind of programs come and go, like what of your favorite things about, you know, the War Games, World of Warships, you know, community management style, like programs that you liked, things that you didn't like, you know, what can I do to make your guys' experience as positive as possible, and, you know, make sure people are coming in and having a good time, and anything in those regards.
Well, chat, you guys are certainly welcome to weigh in on that question as well. If you didn't hear quite properly, it was essentially, as a new community manager, Snarf is asking what things have worked really well in the past that maybe we want to try to continue or do more of, so that he can get off on the right foot with the community. That would be all of you, and me too. For me personally, Snarf, I would say doing what you're doing right now is something that I haven't seen happen in so many years, and that is literally just hanging out on stream. You don't have to say anything. I mean, it's nice that you do, but like, you know, a lot of times we don't hear from community managers, except obviously, you know, internally, like within, you know, our little NDA house of play kind of thing, you know, like, so it's nice to be able to see you just hanging out on a stream, you know?
Cool. Okay. I mean, I'm happy to do that, as long as it doesn't feel like, obviously, never want to hijack, and I really value you guys and the time and effort and dedication it takes to do what you do. So I never want to steal the spotlight from y'all, but I also want to make sure that you guys know that we are listening and we are taking into consideration, you know, all the feedback that does come out, and that's a big part of our job. In addition to doing like all the events and stuff, is really making sure that we hear that feedback, understand it, and then can, you know, express that as accurately as possible to the dev team to hopefully make actionable changes. So
Yeah,
that's my goal, and I have a different strategy from my previous CM work, which is a little bit more hands-on, but obviously don't want to overimpose if that's not something that you guys are into.
I mean, I always looked at it as
Don't be invisible.
I'd rather you try to make something happen than sit back and say I don't want to cause a problem. I mean, that's kind of my perspective. I'd rather see you try to make something, you know, be involved and stuff. So.
100%. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and super awesome of you just to let me pop in here and play some games with you.
Yeah,
Definitely, I've been enjoying all the recommendations on ship lines and you know, just overall game strategy that you've been popping. It seems like you have a wealth of knowledge that, as a returning player from a long hiatus, definitely need to take some of those tips.
Yeah, no, I think Raptor and I said it best the other day, yesterday maybe. I said we've seen a thing or two because we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. I like the old, you know, commercial, but yeah, you know, I appreciate you asking. Retro is really upset about AFKs and ranked and randoms and brawls, but that's kind of hard to get rid of, unfortunately.
I know it's actually kind of cool. We do have like an internal audit system where we can see kind of weekly how many accounts that were AFK were sanctioned and affected and things like that. So there definitely are systems in place to track that and to, you know, put punitive punishment on those accounts.
Is there a way?
Could always be better, but yeah.
That could be shared, or at least like, I think part of the issue, at least as players, is we don't get to see that outcome. Right? Like, World of Tanks, for a while, I'm a World of Tanks player from ages ago, and then World of Warships afterward. Would like they started doing like I forget the cadence on it, but we would basically get this is how many accounts were, you know, sanctioned, etc. per given amount of time.
Just so it looks like you can tell there's something.
So we know something, because it's one of those things like, oh, we're doing something. Yeah, okay, great.
Sure you are.
I believe you.
That's something I can check in. Obviously, I never want to make promises or anything. That's
I'm not
a
saying
really
you should.
unique situation.
That's one of those like.
No, but it's
complete
reasonable feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there are, especially when Europe is involved, and just like privacy laws and acts and stuff like that. That's what the tricky thing is. Like anything regarding like specific account data and things that happen to it. I know there's just some really weird things that we can and can't do, being kind of a global company. So I never want to make a promise, even though that makes perfect sense to me. Just because there's so many different implications and reasons that over the course of, you know, 10 years the game's been out, or 15 years if you count, you know, World War Tanks, like they have to make adjustments because, you know, shit happens. You have to make sure you're abiding the laws.
Yeah, I think
so. But agreed, it would be cool to be able to share that.
For me, the big frustration is when it comes to being, you know, like AFK and stuff like that. You know, it happens. I mean, I played in hotel Wi-Fi before and had to deal with that. So, you know, I think the big problem for me is like, if I go pink, if I disconnect and stuff like that, while I'm in the game, there's always a chance I can't get back in. And even if I do get back in, a lot of times the game still says, hey, shame on you, you were AFK, you get nothing. And so my concern is that kind of encourages me, incentivizes me to YOLO in and die, because if I YOLO in and die and then I disconnect, I get to keep everything. I've got progress. I did stuff.
Yeah, because it's based on fraction of your total game active.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder how they'd be able to adjust that.
I do recall them mentioning they've changed the parameters of what counts as inactive. But yeah, it's.
I mean, it's something that I've been seeing pop up. I haven't put as much, you know, attention into it as I probably ought to. But I know it has been a conversation that's been popping up in some of our internal chats. So I know it's something that they are messing around with a little bit. But it's certainly something, especially if that is a hot topic in the community. Just get some more visibility into it, and like maybe just share kind of what I'm allowed to as far as like how the process works. You know, what the you know, maybe if there's ways we can improve it. But yeah, that's good feedback. I appreciate it. 170k damage. I'd like to see more visibility results from when people report misbehavior in the battle chats. I can't remember the number of times I've blacklisted guys who go toxic rants or give out information their own team, which is highly against the rules. Yeah, that's another area. You know, we definitely monitor those reports. And if you want to take it a step further and make like the CS tickets or whatever it is, you know, that's something we take very seriously. And we have, you know, dedicated chats that when any of us like in Wargaming or in game and we see that happening in chat, like we make some, we don't want to have a toxic. We don't want to be like thought police, but we don't want to, you know, encourage, you know, toxic behaviors and just doing a chat ban. It's a privilege to, you know, to do that because we get it. You're playing the game to not be stressed out. And it's never
I was
fun.
told by your predecessor that the best way to do it is always like at the end of the day, a CS ticket always gets looked at. And so I usually reserve those for language you shouldn't see used anywhere.
Right.
That I obviously won't use here.
Thank you.
My name might be toxic, but I mean.
Yeah, any kind of hate speech, any kind of just like, especially bullying or anything like that, we take it very seriously. So, you know, if you do see that and everybody has the agency to...
up there in the north, in the south that needs killing.
Yep, I'm just radaring it now.
But yeah, like we want to make sure that players have the agency of creating the community that they want to have, right? Like, if we do take those things seriously, it's not just going into the void. Like there's dedicated teams with all sorts of salaries, just like their whole job is to make sure that the rules are followed and you know, actions taken on those that unfortunately just having a little bit too much stress in their life and they don't know how
Toxic.
to
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all.
But to kind of go along with what I saw Pockington write, you know, I had a really great battle, for example, and it was an operation. And I'm sitting in a Kita Kaze, which is the tier 9 Japanese gunboat destroyer, and just farming stuff. I had a guy in a Iparanga or something like that pull up next to me. I didn't see it because I'm zoomed in. And all of a sudden, it says, you know, don't fire any allies, blah, blah. Before I know it, at the end of the game, it doesn't do team damage because team damage is not possible in the operation. But because I fired at a teammate, it says, oh, you get nothing. And that really pissed me off because I came in first place of the battle and I'm like, why did this get taken away from me? Not only that, but it was the first win of the day. So then you lose your 50% first win bonus on a 0 XP. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's like the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Very few things will get me to post angrily on certain locations that you and I have access to, and that's one of them. So. Yeah,
no, I mean, that's a tricky thing, especially without the team damage being a function of it. I think what was described to me, and again, I haven't been around enough to really experience it for myself, but if somebody does basically just like, you know, rage out and they just spend their entire time shooting, you know, their allies' ship, because it does take quite a bit to come pink now, as far as I'm aware. But like, if you just spent your entire time like shooting at a ship, like all of that opportunity cost damage that you could have been doing to win the game for your team, ruins the experience for, you know, however many people are in that match, which is usually pretty substantial.
So Wargaming has... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Yeah, please.
I was gonna say, Warships has gone through multiple different iterations of dealing with team killing, team damage, and all that kind of stuff. From when it was initially released to essentially doing nothing about it and just whatever, to then incorporating reflective damage. So at a certain point of number of hits, you start taking damage yourself for doing damage to the player instead, you know.
Interesting.
And so that was another way that they did it. Of course, when you do that, then you take 2 ships out of the game instead of 1. Which even more so wrecks your chance of getting a win. So ultimately what they did was what they implemented at first in operations, which was no team damage whatsoever. Some of my favorite moments were divvying up with Raptor, for example, going into an operation and throwing torpedoes at him, and him going, Zath, what are you doing? And then watching them just go thunk against the ship and do nothing. He goes, oh, that's kind of cool, you know? So that's kind of neat. And then they took it up a notch on top of that. And yeah, they'll warn you, stop shooting your teammates, blah, blah. You're not doing damage to them. So it really doesn't matter at this point anyways, you know, if you're shooting them or not, other than, like you said, the opportunity cost of what else they could be shooting.
Yeah. I think that's the main concern they have right now is just they don't want to lead to situations where people can go in and just, you know, not flame, but just waste all their stuff shooting the ships. And again, I think that is kind of like a niche case that would happen. They want to incentivize, like, hey, if you're going to be playing the game, like, focus up and actually be, you know, there's a lot of people that might be taking it very seriously. So even if you want to have fun shooting your friends that's in your div or whatever it is, like, you know, that potentially could make other players have a really bad experience and then just kind of quit out because, you know, they wanted to go and they're playing ranked or they're playing at a random and they really care about their win rate and they want everybody to, you know, be taking it as seriously as they are. I think that's the main thing they're trying to balance.
Sure. Absolutely. You know, at the same time, it's kind of sad because I kind of miss the good old days when you could be in a div with people once you've got the game well in hand. Toxic, you might remember these days when then the grab ass commences and everybody just starts shooting each other.
Okay, one thing I do miss about the team damage system, I don't know if this is going way back, and Zath participated in this, so I'm going to implicate us all.
Me?
Is our clan Kraken way back then, we would put bounties on each other during games. Like if somebody was super low HP, the enemy team wasn't killing them, that's for sure.
Just stupid little things like that, yeah.
Your buddy's on 1,000 HP, he ain't living.
I was doing a replay review of somebody's Belfast game, and he was full health, carried the game, like just wrecked through everybody, you know? And at the very end, I'm like, all right, now's about the time to commence grab ass. And just as I said that, his teammate in a battleship behind him one-shotted him. Burst out laughing.
Oh, jeez.
Funniest thing you could ever see. Tier 7s and 8s, guys.
That stuff.
I do too.
7s and 8s.
7s and 8s, yo. Hey, Panoramics. 14 KT Red, thanks for the follow. I saw something else that was mentioned too, and this is I gotta agree with them here. This is a big pain point in a lot of. Was that you, Cremoa? Okay. His replay. But anyway, a painful point that I've seen a lot of players and honestly a lot of CCs mention too, is that there is no tie with the community managers and the community. And I know that sounds kind of funny to say that, but it's very difficult for people to understand who's working at Wargaming, what are their jobs, what are their roles, what kinds of tasks are they completing. For a lot of us, we see community managers that are there. They occupy the seats Wednesday nights when they do the streams, like I've seen you doing your Wednesday night NA streams. And they just kind of, we see them, but we never really interact with them outside of maybe some messages on Discord or something like that. It would be really nice, especially now that the team seems to be going through a rotation, to kind of know more about who it is behind the computers working for Wargaming. And maybe not just the community team, if possible, beyond, but like, you know, one of the things that I almost put in the CC Discord, and I didn't want to because I didn't want to sound like I was being a jerk by saying it, but it's kind of weird that a community manager change is told to community contributors by members of the community. You see where I'm going with that? Like, when our viewers say, hey, there's this new guy in town, Sir Snarf, and you got CCs, like, who? You know, like North American CCs, you know, or when CCs leave the program, or community managers leave the program, like, when did they do that? How did they do that? You know, like, a little bit more communication there, I think, would be really helpful.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and it's definitely something that I'm hoping to do. Like, obviously, you know, I found myself into this job because it's kind of what I want to do for my life, right? Like, I've lived a very lucrative career in more corporate America, and I kind of give that whole spiel on that one server, so you know that.
Yep.
But the reason I do what I do now and spend the time doing it is because I just love bringing people together, and the games industry as a whole is like the medium that I want to do that through.
Sure.
And you can't do that if you don't take the time to make memes in Discord chat and just like hang out with people wherever they might be, and like actually have those real non-scripted moments that it's a little bit more dangerous because you don't know what the heck's going to happen and you have to kind of reply on the fly, but that's what makes us human. That's how we actually get connected with the people that we're playing with, and actually hopefully have them trust that we have their best intentions in mind, and we actually understand the pain points that they're feeling, and we can play alongside them and experience it firsthand. So that's my goal. Like I definitely take a very hands-on approach. My last game was Wayfinder, and I got over 30,000 messages in Discord, and like even like the smallest YouTube videos, like, and creators out there, like I know how much time and effort it takes to edit those videos, put the time in and do it. So like always just refreshing every morning, like, are there any new videos out there? It doesn't matter the size of the creator. Like I'm going to be in the comment section and actually watch the whole video. They took the time of making that content. Like I want to make sure I'm there to actually just respond back to them and see that they're appreciated, and that their feedback is listened to, at least for somebody on the team. Because you guys, unfortunately, just by the nature of the beast, I can't share all the communications that we do, at the company level. There's certain things that are just, it would be breaking our employment contracts by sharing all the stuff. But hopefully by just interacting and just kind of sharing the stuff that I can as frequently as possible, then people at least have that, peace of mind that like, okay, hey, we were going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's actually listening and trying to do what we can do. So, I definitely been trying to hop around and meet as many of the content creators. I was hanging out with Highfire, jumped into a couple games with him a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Chaos, it seems like a super wholesome guy out in Greece. Been trying to get to know him. It's fun when I've run into Lord Bao, and I don't think I've seen Seabatten yet, but just like I'm starting to recognize the faces and hopefully kind of get that camaraderie built up, but it's going to take time. And the goal is to be here for years, not just a matter of months. So it's gonna be slow, and I want us to be genuine and authentic and sustainable. So that's the goal. But yeah, and also on like the side of wanting to put the faces behind the other teams, because they're the real heroes here. Putting their skills to work, to whether it's animation or social media or game design, whoever's making like these operations and stuff like that. A lot of them are in Europe, which makes it hard for me to do. But like I'd love to be able to put a spotlight on them if they're open to it. And a lot of game devs are a little bit more private than us in the community seat are. So like I want to respect their anonymity if they prefer. But like the goal is like I want to do on our streams, like mix up the schedule a little bit and actually do kind of impromptu AMA sessions on the sit down, kind of have more like a talk show hosty kind of environment where we do a couple games, we get somebody from the team, we talk about their inspiration, how they got into game dev, what they love about what they do, like kind of what their day-to-day looks like, what they can share, and just try to paint the picture of like how much work actually goes into being a game dev. It's insane.
Yeah,
so it's just like you need to have a concert of thousands of incredibly talented people in all these different specialized fields that are all willing to work together for a common end product. And usually when you put one piece in, something else breaks, and just having that that ability to make something cohesive at the end of the day, it really does take an army. And putting the spotlight back onto them, getting you guys to realize like, hey, these are people too. It's not always going to be perfect the first time it comes out, but they're doing it because they love what they do. They could be getting paid a lot more in a different industry with the specialized skills that they have, but they're choosing to spend their time and talent on video games, and basically just giving us all something fun that we can enjoy at the end of the day. And I'm already dead, damn it. Talking too much.
It's hard to talk and play at the same time, yeah.
Tell me about it. Yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to work with. Or I'm just bad. Let's be real.
Yeah, you'll get that. You'll develop those skills after more and more of your Wednesday streams, right?
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, speaking of which, we are looking for the next CM to replace iCUE. So he was absolutely a monster of a player. So we're definitely looking to make sure we have that representation of high-level gameplay on the community side. So yeah, we respect the talent of those high-end players, and when we have these new ships, they can talk, with authority on how good they actually are going to be and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and show that off to the community. And get them excited for the new content that's coming out. So if you know anybody, please shoot them over, and it would be awesome to see who our counterpart's going to be here in the North American office. And they're hiring one in Europe as well, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the Prague office,
which side of the pond you're on.
Oh, Prague.
Prague, yep. That's where the EU community office is located. The main developing office is in Belgrade, Serbia. I had the pleasure of
I think that's where the tournament was, correct?
That's where they did the casting from, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That where they went off after all the kerfuffle, or is that where it's always been?
After the server split with Russia, after all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So they were originally in St. Petersburg, and then they had to move someplace else, and they found a new home in Belgrade. It's a really great story, and I wish that that would be told, but has not been so far.
Yeah, it's a sensitive subject, right? But they took care of a lot of the people to get them moved and make the best of a crap situation, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Raptor and I even told Chrysanthos at the CC summit, we're like, you gotta tell the story. I was like, maybe. So,
yeah.
Okay.
It's tricky when a company does get to the size and reputation and prestige. It's just like whenever you kind of touch a controversial topic like that, it's just like legal teams get really scared, and just the liability of someone trying to make mountains out of molehills and twist whatever narrative might be, no matter what the good is. Like they'll just purely focus on the bad, and it just causes more harm than good, sadly.
Oh, absolutely. And the frustrating thing is, us CCs, obviously, we generally paint warships in a good light to a medium light. If there's a problem, we'll typically say WTF Wargaming, like whether that be publicly or, privately in channels. But what's frustrating is, you see a lot of videos out there from people who are not in the program, who don't know all this stuff about what's been going on. And, they're spitballing things, they're pointing the finger and stuff like that, and they're just flat out wrong. But unfortunately, because there is no counter story or whatever out there, it's like you can't point somebody and say, you're wrong. All you can say is you're wrong, but I can't tell you why you're wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's that weird balance that you gotta find of like, there's some people that just want to see the world burn, right? And that's, I completely get it from like a content creator standpoint. Like, bad news sells. Like if you can stir up the pot and make drama, and like, I get it. Being a content creator, it's hard work, and you got to figure out something that's going to get people to click on your videos, and you got to do what you got to do. There's doing the high road is sadly a lot more work, and the algorithm gods aren't as favorable. So I completely understand the aspect of there. It frustrates a lot of people internally to no end, because they know what's actually going on. But ultimately, it's just like we're not here to be the thought police and try to defend ourselves and do that, because that's just kind of just perpetuates the problem even more, sadly. It's just like the more you feed energy like that, the more of it starts popping up, and then it just becomes like a rabbit hole that you have to keep going down. So it's just like, hey, we're going to just keep doing what we're going to be doing. We're going to be trying to make the best content we can do, and hopefully let our actions, speak for us. But there's always going to be people out there that are just trying to make content as viral as possible, and we understand that perspective too.
Absolutely. Muppeteer, I saw your question about migrating account. I don't know, and I don't know if Snarf would know either. So,
Let me see. Take a look.
he was asking about migrating accounts before the 10th anniversary, so he get all the content, whatever the freebie stuff is, on whatever account he's trying to migrate to.
Between servers. Interesting. I would definitely. I don't know specifically how the technicals are all going to work. If it.
Yeah.
How it's determining those years. I know you're going to be able to do the player kind of history report. So if that reflects like the 10 years in there, then you'll probably be good. But one way or another, it's never a bad idea just to make a support ticket. That way it's flagged in our things, and if that's something that's going to be a major concern for a lot of people, we can make a statement and address what's actually going to be. But I don't know yet.
Yeah, Muppeteer, that was exactly going to be my response too, was file a support ticket. If you're really not sure, ask. One of the things that we learned from the CC Summit is that, obviously Wargaming is pulling data about support tickets, right? Like, what are players having difficulties with, right? What are some of the pain points that's going on? And so if there's a lot of questions about the server migration stuff, then maybe that helps them realize, okay, we need to put together an article or something else to make it more clear for players to understand.
Exactly.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. We don't know what we don't know, right? So,
Bingo.
like, the more people are, voice things like part of my daily kind of marching orders, and other people, I know Killer Ben and a few others that are in Discord all the time, is like we really do pay attention to those player discussion forums, and like my directive is actually to read through if there's anything that like I can provide useful feedback to, is like actually just go in there, spend some time, see what new forums are open in that gameplay forums discussion panel, and write a response if I know a response to it, or at least ask a question internally so I can get an answer and then respond back to it, and make sure that we hear stuff. And then we have literally every day we have a handoff between the European team and the North American team, where we kind of discuss like, okay, what are the hot topics going on in Discord? What's the feedback on the new dev blog? Like, what are people talking about the ships? Like, we really do try to, get as much real-time data feedback about like what are people's sentiment about the new stuff that we just came out with, or is there a new bug that really needs to get attention ASAP? So when you do make those questions and you put them in there, and like other people reflect that same concern or something like that, then it's something like, okay, hey, this morning a lot of people are talking about this, do we have an answer to it? No, not yet, not something we thought about. Okay, let's figure out what we can say and talk to the right teams to get involved and like have a solution to make sure players is like our jobs won't exist if players leave the game. And players leave the game when they're not happy. So we want to make sure it's fair and people are just having a good time and they feel like their voices are heard. We're not going to be able to do everything. Sorry, subs and CVs aren't going to go away. It's part of the game, but it doesn't mean that we don't listen to that feedback and just try to, if we see something that's coming down the pipes that's going to cause a lot of people to get super upset, then if we catch it early enough, we can be like, hey, let's rethink this new piece of content that's coming out, and let's make sure it's going to be at least that compromise onto what's whether it's historically accurate, but also making sure the gameplay is still going to be fun for everybody.
Right. Well, and it's going to be interesting, with the nostalgia. I don't remember what the mode is called, but where you can kind of play the older style gameplay without carriers and subs.
Yeah,
history
going for
mode.
14.8. Yeah. I think that's gonna be cool.
What happens if that mode is by far the most popular mode in the entire event?
I mean, that means it's something that we probably want to continue to do. Like that's kind of why we tested so many new stuff. Like, and we're not always gonna hit the mark. Like, we're gonna come up with some operations and modes that are kind of stinky. But it's better than not just trying new stuff and seeing if it's going to be a hit with players. Oh, rip! Sorry for that Constellation. The Constellation is a cool looking ship, by the way.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
Is that an original South Dakota?
No, Constellation is what
Which
the
one is that?
Lexington class battle cruisers would look like had they been completed instead of aircraft carriers and then later modernized during the war. That's why she's got Colorado style guns and she's very long and narrow.
Yeah, she's a modern looking ship.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Sodex, have you had a chance to take a look or try out the It's the Indiana is coming out, right? The next Zodec.
We don't think we can talk about it though.
We can't talk about it, of course, publicly. It is in testing. I will say that generally speaking, I don't do live testing of ships because my biggest concern as a CC is breaking NDA. So a lot of times when new ships come out, I'll say, "Oh, what is that?" And like I didn't know about the, whatever that we've been playing, BA Banana, whatever. Because if I test them and I have an opinion of the ship, and then it's released, and I just jump right in and say, "Oh yeah, this is blah blah blah," without having played any battles in it, that doesn't look too good.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's fair.
I try to stay away from
but
that.
hey, having an opinion without having any experience is exactly what we're allowed to do.
I was about to say that sounds like most of the internet right there.
Yeah.
And some are better at it than others, is the disclaimer here.
Right.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good torpedo dodge. Nice.
Yeah, nice dodge, Tannis.
There are a lot of ships coming. That is the bravest little destroyer that ever could.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Oh, I believe him. I'm trying to pick up notes of like what I can do.
He's got this. The important thing is the transport made it out, so
Yeah, at this point you've already won.
Nice.
it's a victory. Everything else is gravy. Every XP you get, even if you die, it's extra XP.
Ooh, are we gonna get a ram? A ram the
I don't think
cruiser?
so.
Oh, damn.
You remember
Close.
the game we had yesterday where I was the last one alive and even after death, we still won?
It was hilarious. Pockington's the only one left alive. He dies. I'm like, "Aw," and it was victory.
Yeah, no, I had one of those as well on this map. It was pretty great.
Like there's an award
Everybody
for
died.
that on normal ops.
There is. I'll be right back.
Nice. That's fun.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a Terminator reference because it has the arm coming out of the fire.
Oh yeah, right. It's got the thumbs up from Terminator 2.
Out of curiosity, how did you get it set that was only level tier 7s and 8s allowed on this?
So the operation is allowed 7, 8, or 9, but Matchmaker only allows you to division up with somebody that's plus or minus 1 tier. So if somebody readies up in a 7, they can't ready up in a 9. They can only do 7s or 8s.
Okay.
And I don't think it'll drag 7s into a game with 9s.
No.
I've
We haven't
divisioned as
seen
a
that.
7 with a 9, and I've been dragged to multiple 9s in the Order
Really?
Sovereign. And I've outperformed those 9s.
Probably also depends on the size of the div.
That's right. Hey, Vaco.
Like we can't really tell because there's only one person that's not in the div.
That's right. Delani, Vaco's on deck, but if you want to keep playing, by all means, keep playing. I play with Vaco all the time.
I'm
I don't
happy
play with you all the
to
time.
dive out too if you guys need more slots. But I figured it'd be a good opportunity to just come here and chat and see if there's some questions.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to keep playing with you, man. It's all good.
On the topic of like test ships earlier, I'm not a super tester myself, so I actually like to keep people informed on what's going on with the test ship.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of do that between 2 different streamer communities right now. Actually 3, because I do it between Happas, I do it between Zones, and I do it with Zath.
Yeah, you do.
I keep people informed on what test ships do what.
I used to.
It's that kind of
Rest in peace, Wiki.
double-edged sword because I feel like that's such a great topic for content is just like, hey, this new ship came out, let's start theory crafting and stuff like that. But then if you do have NDA access, the thing is, it's just like you get your
Yeah,
hands
that's exactly
cuffed.
why I
It's
don't
like,
want. That's exactly why I don't want to be a super tester, so I can keep doing this.
yeah,
There's an art to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because as far as an NDA and talking about a test ship goes, there's very little actual like relative risk to yourself when you discuss the items. Depending on what you do for work and other things like that, the risk can be much higher. It's all
That's
about
true.
how you talk about things.
The other thing is Wargaming did a really nice job of adding these little cards that allow you to learn more about the characteristics of the ship. So you can hit tab, click on a ship, and then you can see all the information, almost all the information you need to. Okay, it's got radar. What's its range? Okay, it's 10 kilometer. I know to stay away from Pockington if I'm on the enemy team. So there is more information there, and test ships, that stuff is automatically added as well. So the concern so much about leaking an NDA is less in terms of the characteristics of a ship, because all that stuff is posted on the dev blog as well as in game, like I just showed you. The bigger problem is just saying things like, "Oh, I really like this ship," or "This thing is busted," or blah blah blah.
Is it
like,
good?
Is this good or
Which
bad?
is what
That's what
everyone
everybody
wants to know, right?
everybody wants to
Well,
know.
clearly it's got a 10-second reload. The alpha is this. The gun angles are this. The range is this. This is how fast the shells are. So it's got to be good. There, look, easy. Every time. There's always a way around it.
Right. So I mean, that's the hard part. And then somebody goes, "Oh well, Toxic told me this," and then it's like Toxic, you know. So.
Well, yeah, but you knew I was right, so.
Yeah, but it you know, it's a bit of a balance.
Yeah. No, and it's I certainly understand both sides of the discussion. I think it's I would say a lot of the more recent kind of like friction that's been caused, as Mike mentions in chat and others, like there's just some weird decision making sometimes, and like stuff gets released that doesn't make any sense. And even as testers, we're like, how did that come out that way?
Hildebrand.
No, Hildebrand's not even remotely an issue. Like Valparaiso is the classic example right now.
Well, I just feel like Hildebrand in testing was insane, and I feel like I'm surprised he went through testing without as many nerfs as I expected it to get.
I have no idea about Hildebrand testing.
Really powerful ship.
Valparaiso is absurdly broken.
Valparaiso is unkillable. It's unkillable.
It's the unkillable brick I brought in the last op that I played and just drove into all of them and killed them all, because there's literally no way to die unless you get torped by like 18 things.
Right.
You have to get death struck in it in order to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And like, but then we get these other like wet noodles that I'm gonna cross pollinate. Like Hago did the dev blog review of the newest announced chips, and like the 2 tier 7, like the wording alone in some of these releases just doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, this is what's good about the ship, and you go on Ship Tool and compare them, and it's like, oh, this is the second worst at its tier, but this is good about it. And then like, it's like these are just objectively speaking lies. So
nice kill.
The wording on dev blogs doesn't help sometimes.
Hawaii is going to be interesting though with its alternate firing mode, having more DPM than a Colbert.
Yeah,
So-
I'm looking forward to that. One's neat.
I often feel like, you know, when the developers create a ship and they put characteristics on it, they have an idea in their mind of how that ship is supposed to be played, and you know what kind of style they want for that ship. I think the problem is that sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect, because if that style doesn't seem to be working the way they want it, then they're like, okay, how can we make this happen? And so then they give it tweaks and changes to give it that style. Oftentimes, you know, either gigabuffing it someplace to make that happen, or, you know, over nerfing it to the point where it's kind of, you know, not worth even bothering to play. So a good example is the Pan American battleship line as a whole, right? The idea they wanted a brawling, up close, in your face, you know, line of battleships, but at the same time, the German battle cruisers have hydro. If the Pan American battleships have hydro, then what makes the German battle cruisers special?
Yeah.
Oh, they've got torp. So, you know, the difficulty with that was, you weren't around when the line was first released. But the Ipiranga, you know, the tech tree battleships had ridiculous rudder shift and turning radius, so they can almost turn on a dime. It made it very easy
And
to
the
dodge
acceleration
torpedoes.
that the British cruisers get.
Yes. So
Still
it
get
got a
that,
lot of things
but-
baked into
Well, the
it.
Valparaiso has it, but not the main line anymore. They got rid of it
Correct.
on the main line.
It was removed because it was found to be overtuned, but because Valpo is a premium boat, some slight differences there. So I think that's what we're kind of getting at is like, you know, there are ships that are tested, released in certain stages, and, you know, like Toxic said, people go, huh? You know, like, why?
Never mind the fact that ships are not balanced in relation to legendary commanders and commanders that get skills and whatnot. And I don't think anyone in this entire discussion is going to have any sort of like, they're not going to question the fact when I say that Lisboa is insane. Like, the buffs are just better and easier to get than everything else effectively.
So that's an area that I'm not going to presume to have a good opinion, just because I haven't been around enough and I'm not a dedicated player. And that's why we need to have, you know, a CM that can have those discussions and have them, you know, actually make sense, because we never, like, it's never a good look to lie. Like, nobody ever has the intention of actually lying or hyping something up to not be accurate. But sometimes, you know, you can have a wrong opinion, right? So as ironic as that is. So my goal is, you know, it's the weekend right now, it's the holiday, but like I'm still playing this game because like I want to freaking figure it out. And like my last game, I had probably some of the most time spent than at least probably the top 3 in the world. You know, even more than pretty much everybody on the dev team. Like everyone would come to me for advice on balance and like testing out the new boss or whatever the hell it was. It's because I put so much time into the game, and I'm not there now, but what I do commit to all of you guys is like I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna hopefully get up into the you know, the high 50s, maybe even the 60% win rate one of these days. And that's the kind of goal I'm setting for myself. So like when a new ship is coming out, I can actually have those discussions and have meaningful, you know, thoughts and kind of feedback, and like when I'm doing those super tests and be like, yep, this is busted because XYZ, and actually get some recordings and get some you know, adjustments made before it turns into a shit show once it's released. Because
I loved watching Gaishu play Yodo on the Wargaming stream when it released. The look on his face of abject misery, because like there was no way to make that ship good. It didn't matter who you were, and he was suffering the entire time. And it was like he's supposed to hype this thing, but his face tells the real story.
Right. Leave it to Gaishu to make even like the turdiest of ships like still look like it's pretty damn good. I don't know. That man is a monster.
He was not doing it that day.
No. Okay.
No.
Fair
When you get to the 60%, you want to get to the 70. Let me know.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Gaishu's one of those people who can take anything just about, like you said, and make it look amazing and have those kinds of battles. But let's just say some ships are easier to make that happen in. And Yodo's probably the most difficult. You have to have certain things to work to make Yodo look good. So, yeah, it is what it is.
At the time of release, it had none of them.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty good ship now, but like...
Right. The only negative about that is by now, it's got a reputation. The players have an idea of, okay, this is crap, blah, blah. So, hard to make
Sometimes
that
that's
change.
a good thing. People just ignore you.
Yep.
Like, look at that weirdo playing Lighthouse Yodo. Like, what is he doing?
Right.
Meanwhile, you've got like 200,000 damage.
So what's a good, like, is like, I'm kind of like using 2,000 experience, like base experience is kind of par for a random battle. Is that a good thing to be shooting for, or like where should I be trying to get like, okay, I did shit this map versus did pretty good?
The only caveat to this is lower tiers, like under tier 4. I think it's like under 5. Basically, like there's a little bit of XP scaling on the very first tiers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But after then, so I would say like anything about 1,000 XP when you're like tier 1 to 3. But then when you get into 4, 5, 6. You can get 2,000. You can get 3,000 base XP at tier 6, but the game, we were talking like 200,000 damage in a Fuso. Source me. But like realistically speaking, I would say 2000 is once you get up to tier 9 and 10, 2000, I would say that's what you should be aiming for no matter what. 8, 9, 10. On a good like that's a good game. On average, at least 1500. No matter like that's where I would. I'm upset if I'm not at least at 15, 16, 1700. But that's me, and I'm a little bit of a tryhard.
A little.
Even when I'm playing.
Just a little, you say?
Hey, I play for fun, but it's fun winning. And I like winning in really bad ships. So like, I can't speak to recent experiences, but you know, when you sit down, you look at your games played, and you've won every single solo random game that you played that day, and you're playing stuff that you are giving feedback on is terrible. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to an XP number, for me personally, I don't really look at XP so much as I look at my position on the team. If my position on the team is really low, if it's a random battle, then obviously I screwed something up. Maybe I took some torpedoes or whatnot, etc., etc. But especially if I lived to the end of the battle and I'm on the bottom of the scoreboard, then I'm thinking to myself, what the heck did I not do right?
Yeah.
So that's important. If I'm playing ranked battles, it's a totally different perspective. For a ranked battle, if I'm on the very bottom, I'm thinking to myself, hey, my team really worked with me and I worked with them. And maybe we didn't, you know, maybe I didn't come in the very first place, but I still got that W. I still got that win, which is far more important than an individual, you know, player's performance.
Interesting. Yeah, because like
In operations, it's just whoever damage harmed the most typically gets on top.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean you're not always on top?
I see what you did there.
To be fair, this is unfair. I hold a substantial number of the operation damage records, so.
I mean, the only record I hold is 1 million damage and irresistible, but that was also a flagship.
What? That is insane.
Yeah.
I did 1.2 in Annapolis in not flagships.
That's wild.
I think the most in non-flagship I've done is 680 in the minnow.
Although to this day, my greatest achievement is 400,000 in Tiger 59. I hold your applause.
People sleep on Tiger 59. It's a sleeper.
That was 15 minutes of shooting.
That's wild.
Your poor mouse.
But going back to your ranked comment, so I've yet to play ranked. I definitely want to start. I just need to get a bit more of my, my feet underneath me. I want to say, because I don't want to drag teams down. But the
You won't.
the minnow is what I just unlocked. Actually through just doing the operations. So I'm going radar minnow. I heard you were talking about that versus
will
smoke
teach you
earlier.
to play this game.
Exactly, and it's been interesting. So like utilizing the islands, just trying to be in the right position, get over, close but not too close. Popping the radar, which apparently goes through islands because that makes sense. And like trying to do that, but I've noticed that, typically, even if I am staying alive, which is kind of tricky to do in that ship, I kind of see myself more as like a sentry turret that, if I have the opportunity to farm something down, like they're out of position and I can shoot over an island, they can't shoot me back, then fantastic. The bullets lob like nobody's business, but like you can figure out how to shoot them and kind of guess where the ship is going to go. But if I position myself correctly and spot and kind of hold down a capture point with my radar and doing that kind of thing, then I feel like I made a contribution to the team fight, even though I know I'm not going to be kind of ranked at the highest for damage. Like if I brought out my battleship, like a John Bart or whatever it might be, where I can get top 3 pretty consistently just because of the damage I'm dealing. But I feel like the utility of just spotting and stuff for your team and not dying almost counters it, but I don't know if that's the wrong mentality.
So
Spotting is definitely like an underappreciated role.
you mind if I
Some
take
people
this
just
one,
ignore it. Some people will look at your score and like, oh, you did nothing. You're the bottom of the team, even if the entire game you just did spotting. But they don't realize without that spotting, that game probably would have been a loss in most situations.
So, as far as high-level cruiser gameplay goes, because I would say Radar Minnow is probably the peak of it. the balance between spotting and aggression and like you're very, very, very peaky. The thing with the minnow is you can actually output a crazy damage amount in a very limited space between torpedoes and just your guns. Like you can do 6,000 to 8,000 damage a salvo on a broadside battleship. You can charge people around islands type of thing. Like the big plays, like the gamer plays, is like say a battleship's turrets are pointed the wrong way, he's dead. You kill him every time.
Interesting.
There's this knife edge you can ride, and again, this is we're talking like the 3,000 base XP average game type of stuff, because it's very hard to do it right. And I'm talking like John the Ruthless is probably the best person I've seen do it consistently. I'm nowhere near that. But it's how can I? Because yes, shooting over an island and getting chip damage here and there, but it's also one of those like, if I'm just being a sentry, how can I continue to have an impact? How can I move up? Where can I move up? Where can I catch people out, side to side, around something? Where is the worst place for me to be for somebody else when they make a decision? Those are the kind of big brain, kind of like, it's looking at the mini-map, deciding where to be 30 seconds ahead of time, 45 seconds ahead of time.
Yep.
And as you continue to get that kind of like, your mindset, you can start to see the future on the mini-map.
Oh god, yes.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can look at a mini-map and tell you what's going to happen 5 minutes from now.
That was a huge thing, like when iCUE was starting to give me some like tips and stuff for the short time I had him, that was a surprise when I got hired.
Very similar.
Yeah, no, and I mean, he wanted to do the replay, gameplay replay, and it just seems like the game, like making sure that minimap is as big as possible and you know, transparent, so you can just be almost like reading the map. And I come from a really big RTS background, so I respect that a lot. It's just it's interesting. It's kind of like a first-person FPS or first-person RTS. So like being able to read that map and understand the different rules of the different ships, and like realizing that all the gameplay experience that I did have, which is, you know, limited in its own right, I'm almost glad it wasn't more of that, because that would have been so many bad habits. Like learning what I should be doing instead, and now kind of starting from there, I feel like gives me such a huge, you know, multiplier to how quickly I'll be able to learn the game, just because of those kind of key fundamentals that he drilled into me. Now putting it to practice is a different story, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge that I often try to explain to a lot of players, like when I do their replay analysis. Some people are clearly levels ahead of others, and that's okay. So, you know, my suggestion to you would be to just focus on the basics, and the rest of it will come as it goes. Like, just there's no need to worry about, okay, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Because what you'll start doing is you'll start like completely focusing yourself out when you need to just focus on what, you know, what to do right. Like, where's my position? Like Toxic said, what am I looking to shoot, etc., etc. Like, those things are far more important than just looking at the minimap and saying, we're going to make this happen in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, you start doing it just like, I don't think when I play this game.
Me neither.
I just kind of do.
Yeah.
And this game, from a mechanical standpoint, like, I think it's a fairly safe assumption that most people are, like, you can aim decently well. Like, that
Correct.
ammo choice is a little bit, but generally speaking, most players, most might be an overstatement, will be able to connect shells on something. Then it becomes where does my center point be to make more shells connect with those things? And when should it be there? And it all just goes from there, right?
Yeah. I mean, even just like understanding kind of like how saturation works, and kind of, I mean, what iCUE blew my mind about is just like he knew, like, all right, the armor belt millimeters of that, and like what his overmatch capabilities are going to be, the deck plating, the you know, the citadel armor, like all of it, like he kind of just knew instinctually on each ship that he was going up against. And I'm just like, holy shit, how am I going to get that amount of knowledge? And just like, I know exactly what the size of my guns are and exactly what that 14.3 math is going to be. It's like, okay, cool, I can actually, you know, shoot at this angle versus I should hold out that shell like a couple seconds to get that that perfect, broadside. It's just crazy how much people can
These are
learn
the
from this
right
game.
questions, is what I'm gonna say.
I got when I first started
Love
playing this game
them.
again, like I started in 2018 and I dropped it, and then when the pandemic picked up, I started playing it heavily again. I picked up most of my knowledge from the wiki, and then from the wiki, I used
Thanks.
personal experience.
Deputy wiki lead here.
When
Well,
I
and I
started
worked on
playing
the
this game, the
screenshots.
wiki was like I had my wiki open on my other monitor, just looking. Okay, what does this do? What do I need to know about it? I was looking at the wiki almost every other game, and now
Yeah.
it's old knowledge I just remembered now.
Yeah, it's.
Yep.
I mean, and for different people, it's different things. Some people, it's you've played, well, you've played basically every ship like me, but
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm
Bring
gonna
out the
dip.
Neptune.
I got stuff.
I was about to say, how much longer is your stream going to be going on for? Going to 8 hours now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to 12, so 4.
You're crazy, man.
That's the
Jeez,
plan.
You are a wild child.
Well, thank you.
I mean, don't forget the one time you streamed for like 10 hours, you were drunk as hell and you got that big donation. You were just.
I did a
that
charity
was such a funny
drive.
moment.
I did a charity drive for StackUp.org, man. It was amazing. So we got some, you probably are walking into this Snarf and looking at the community and saying, these guys are pretty cool. But I gotta say, when it comes to a good cause, the community is freaking amazing. And what I loved about it was, yeah, as Poggy said, it was a long stream. I did get drunk as hell because
Dirty hydrated, right?
we were doing, that's right. We were doing stuff for a good cause. And so I didn't, I kind of let myself go, as Pockington can attest. And we hit my goal. And I said, you know what? We're part of a team, right? I was with a whole bunch of other streamers that were CCs like Habba Fodder, Rita Gamer. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to help them out with their goals as well. Let's just do it. So I started putting up, changing my overlay to their charity drive. It's the same thing. It's all stack up. So the money's going to the same place. It's just I'm trying to help others meet their goals. And so I'm swapping through.
That's
and
so
by
cool.
that point in the stream, we had probably raised about maybe $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 total between a whole bunch of us. And so I'm like posting in like Discord messages, like, Pops Plays, you're next, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And like we finished. So I put his up there, and then in the community, they donated, I think it was the DevStrike community specifically, which is the unofficial World of Warships forums. They donated immediately to finish off that goal, $1,491.
Jeez.
So yeah,
That was Deathstrike?
that was from the DevStrike forums. Yeah, from the people behind DevStrike. So I went wild, and the end of that stream was hilarious because, like, if you watch the very end of it, like, I can barely even function, and my wife said she opened the door and hit my head on the floor. And hey, the most important thing was we raised a buttload of money for a great charity, and we know that it went to a good cause. So I was perfectly happy to do that.
That's so cool.
But yeah, we what drives me, what keeps me playing this game, what keeps me streaming World of Warships for so many hours is that I really do. I love the game. I love the community. I love the viewers. I enjoy doing stuff like this. If I could do this 24/7, I probably would. I could put a bucket in here. I could get some refrigerator, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I'd probably lose my wife, but I'd have
I was
a lot
about
of
to
fun.
ask, how are you able to balance those two things? I mean, I love that she was being supportive, bringing you water.
Yes.
But that's gotta be an interesting balance to be able to do for work and life. But
It's taken a few years to sort that out.
Are you a CC for your full-time job?
For what?
Is it your full-time job, or is it have you been able to? Do you have to maintain a W2 at the same time?
Yeah, I do have a different job as well. It's outside of Warships and stuff. It's a very fun job. But I couldn't, I tried for a while doing the full-time thing, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Hey, I mean, it's incredible that you're able to put so much time into your Twitch community, and it's obviously, you know, reflected in what 500 people here just hanging out and doing that. So I respect you so much for being able to balance both those things and have a personal life too.
What personal life?
do not hey, I mean, if you have a wife, you got it. You have to have something, right?
Oh, yeah, fair, true.
Maybe some more cats in the future too. We'll see.
Oh yes, please.
No, but it's a ton of work. So I have the utmost respect for anybody who's able to keep themselves dedicated and maintain that schedule, and because it's hard. It's not all just rainbows and butterflies that people think like, oh yeah, this is just the dream job. It takes a whole lot of work to be able to do it.
No, yeah, and they see people, you know, certain Twitch celebrities, right, that have made it, and they're like, oh well, you know, Zath's doing that. No, like, no. So yeah, it's tough, but you know, it is what it is, and I really appreciate you coming in and hanging out and stuff. I mean, I don't know if you were part of the raid or what determined the raid to come over here, but if you know who did, if that's not you, please send my thanks to them, because that was awesome.
I have a feeling I know who it is, but I'm not sure. I wasn't running there. I was just trying to help out with because I know. Speaking of other unsung heroes, the amount of nightmarish logistics that go into getting a tournament right, and boy oh boy, this one in particular did not go smoothly at all behind the scenes to make it happen, and there was like some very last minute audibles of just trying to get head counts in there because of things that I can't go into, but it was you know, whatever I can do to help support them. So just like hopping in chat and, you know, pinning stuff in the codes and everything too, because there's a ton of work that goes into that, and you know, it's cool coming into, because I've always worked in like the startup world, and my last studio I was basically the one and only, so I had to do everything by myself. So now having like a dedicated team that's been around for, you know, 10+ years, you know, really kind of honing their craft. Like I just have such an appreciation for the amazing work that they're doing, even when it doesn't go smoothly, because like even it not going smoothly, it took an insane amount of work for it to get to that stage. So yeah, I'll definitely pass along your thanks to whoever it might be.
You know,
and
whenever
hopefully I'll
things
actually get to meet them next week. I'm actually getting to go to Prague to meet a lot of the European team for the first time.
Well, good.
Over my birthday, which will be fun.
Well, happy birthday. That'll be cool. Yeah, you're gonna have some. Yeah, you're gonna have some fun out there then. But yeah, I mean, you know, when it comes to a team, and that's something that I agree. Wargaming's always done a great job of that team mindset of, okay, this isn't working. How can we get this done? Who's gonna jump and fill in and spin some plates and stuff? And I would argue it's when things don't go as planned that's when you learn the best about what the team is and what they can do, and what you can do too as a person when things blow up in your face. So, you know, maybe it didn't work out so well this weekend, but hey, there's a lot of positives you can take away from it that obviously will impact the next tournament, which I'm assuming for most of the people in the dev world for Wargaming is going to be COTS, which I think they said is November now. So you got some time to figure things out, get it sorted. Good stuff.
That's the goal. Yeah, it's going to be, you know, as much as you think you've seen everything and you can account for every variable, inevitably there's always some new, you know, Murphy surprise to ruin everybody's day. But it's what makes it fun. It's about, you know, I kind of approach every problem as a puzzle, and you just got to figure out what the best, given the time constraints and the scale of the problem, like what solution can you come up to that puzzle as quickly as possible, and again take those lessons for the next one. But
absolutely.
Damn cheer. So you mentioned Manor Lords is another game. What other what games did you grow up on and besides World of Warships? Have you spent a lot of your time playing?
Well, there's this one, which is come on, that doesn't want to. There we go. PTO, Pacific Theater of Operations for Koei.
Okay.
On the Super Nintendo. On the Super Nintendo. All codes are expired. That's correct, Zath. That was so fun for me because I got to control the United States or Japanese navies in World War II. And, you know, I could change up the fleet consists. I can, you know, go and attack Wake Island and capture it as the Japanese, or, you know, make all those kinds of fun decisions. And I think that's one thing that really gets me hooked into, or got me hooked into Warships, was like, you know, I was used to seeing them in 16 bits of glory, right? So not the greatest of graphics, of course, and you know, whatever the devs could do with 16-bit, you know, graphics at the time was what they did.
I mean, it still blows my mind how much data they could fit on those tiny little cartridges. Like,
oh yeah,
that's an art form in it itself of just, you know, you just look at those old school games, just like, how the heck did you put so much content on like 150 bits, 125 or whatever it is, 152
right.
Bits of data? It blows my mind.
Yeah, so growing up for me, I had a lot of video games in my life. Didn't have the greatest of home life, so for me it was all about the video games as an escape from reality. And so I really enjoyed games where I got to be, you know, a part of a team, or, you know, whatever. So I really liked what was it, like RPGs and stuff. Those were always really fun for me. Or flying games, because I always enjoyed flying, you know, or space sims, that sort of thing. Those were always a lot of fun for me growing up. How about you? What did you get into?
I mean, it's awesome. Similar, actually, in a lot of regards. But I think my first real gaming was like Command and Conquer. Played all the different Command and Conquers by Tiberium Sum, like getting you know, a telephone cord and doing like LANs with my buddies and stuff back in the day. And then, God, what else? Ooh, I'm gonna... Holy crap, that is the closest non-collision I've ever seen in my life. We literally shaved each other's paint off.
Nice.
So yeah, Command & Conquer, StarCraft, still play StarCraft with my roommate and buddy.
Still.
Oh yeah, 100%. Protoss for the win, unless you're...
Protoss.
If you're a Terran player, I can't talk with you, sorry. Then I've a ton of RPGs as well. You know, way back in the day, started with, you know, my first main console was N64, so playing through all the Zelda games, playing through GoldenEye, slappers only.
Oh
did
God,
a ton
yes.
of good old GoldenEye.
Yep, I got that down there.
There you go. That's the classic. That freaking soundtrack slaps, I'll tell you what. Sometimes just put that on as good kind of comfy music. Then kind of had a whole... I'm currently really into the Souls, Dark Souls. Elden Ring, I think, was a phenomenal game. I've been playing through, actually today, I was playing through some of the Night Rain. Got that with my roommate. We were playing through pretty recently. Total War games. Played basically all the Total Wars that ever existed.
Hell yeah.
Big fan of those.
What did you think of the Total War Wargaming collab?
They do a wargaming?
Yes,
I wasn't even aware that existed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know they did.
And then they canceled it.
Tragic. Like, are you talking about like Total War or?
Yes. With Creative Assembly.
Warhammer.
Yes.
Interesting.
So it was designed so that it was a multiplayer environment. You could have 3 people on each team, and 3 people would control basically like 3 units. And they had this whole progression system, so you could, like, you know, build them up, XP, blah blah blah. But it was trying to take a whole thing, and instead of one general like Total War does, each person is like a little general within the army to try to make the overall thing work.
Interesting. Wild. Yeah, I had no idea that existed.
Oh, it's 4 or 5 years old now when they did that.
I thought it was a
I
great
know.
game.
We have a dedicated person actually in our Austin office who does all of the like his whole job is like licensing and coming up like the cool collabs that we can do and kind of come up with a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping to be able to work with him and come up with some cool ideas that I hear from the community and see if we can actually make it a reality, because it's cool shit. It's cool. Like just tapping into people's nostalgia and giving them something like do. I think what it's called there's a lot of parallels between people who play like miniature games, like Warhammer and whatnot, and kind of the strategic elements of wargaming games. So like I can totally see like a lot of really cool partnerships that we could hopefully squeeze out some of these days. Oh
Absolutely.
Lord, I can't believe I dodged those torpedoes. No, I didn't. You said another salvo. Damn it. All right,
Another M note in here.
274. All right, you're not allowed to get 2,000 more damage.
Oh, okay. I'll start working on that now. But yeah, I know who you're talking about that does all that, and please tell them I said hi, because I've known him for years, and it's always good to see him, to run into him at in-person events and stuff like that. So if you don't mind,
so when you were
mentioning
mentioning earlier, like people like that on the team, do you think the community would enjoy hitting a little bit of screen time, like if we were to make a 25-minute or 30-minute segment like on those weekly streams where you can get people in like that and just kind of just chat about what they do, what the process is, or is that going to be boring to people, do you think?
I don't think it'll be boring at all. No, I think it'll be. I think something like that would be very helpful for the community, and to have him come in, for example, and say, hey, that collab thing, that Star Trek collab, yeah, I negotiated that. You're welcome. Like, that'd be kind of cool, or even for him to kind of talk about what were the pitfalls, what were the challenges of getting a Star Trek event, right? Okay, so we want to make a Enterprise D bridge. Well, could they just make it, or did they have to pay to license? Like those kinds of things. You don't have to say how much, obviously, but it's just those kinds of things would be really cool, I think, for a lot of the community to get into, because we are very passionate about the game and passionate about the boats and Press Your Nines people, but like, to understand more about what's behind the hood. How's it, you're already dead, you can't, anyway, but like, how does that all, how does that all fit into, making a successful collaboration? I think is definitely something that's helpful, and you put the face behind the name, and the fact that person's been with wargaming probably since I was just a player 10 years ago, if not even longer. Like, that's kind of cool to be able to be introduced to that person and know more about what they do and get them out there. So
yeah, I mean, that's something that's really blown me away as far as just like getting introduced to this company and just seeing the tenure that a lot of the guys that have been around since the beginning. It's like, it's a really rare compared to the norm in the industry. It's like so often the case where you're there, for pre-launch, launch, and then it's like, okay, now there's layoffs or whatever it is, and it's on to the next studio. But it's crazy that a free-to-play game has stood the test of time and is still, mostly positive on Steam after 10 years, and able to sustain and give these people a livelihood. And like, it's crazy that there's so many people that have been able to be around for over a decade at this point. It's wild.
I mean, for not to mention a live service game lasting 10 years, and let alone a free-to-play one at that, is really impressive.
Yeah, and most people don't even know what you just said, Pac, when you said live service or game, game as a service. Like, they don't understand what that model even means. So, anyway,
I think it's a bit of a dead duck now, because it's been announced that it's no longer. But I think you guys missed an opportunity with Still Hunters to use the Twitch channel for more than just your one game that you have, and to introduce some crossover. That's something that somebody in integrations could have done of, hey, watch our channel for Still Hunters and get a drop for Warships or something like that, right? Like to cross promote the game that you guys are developing in-house, instead of it just kind of being like that thing over there that if people aren't paying attention, they'll never know about it, and then they only find out that it's a thing when it's announced that it's over.
Yeah, that was a surprising thing to me as well. When I was doing the interview process and everything, like you know, even like the Legends team versus the normal WoWs team, like the Blitz teams and all like that, they all operate as essentially kind of like independent business groups. Yep. So like it, I mean, I totally agree. And like I was, you know, like in Discord and stuff like that, trying to promote like the really cool trailer that's coming out for Heat on World of Tank, and like the, you know, I think there is some cross collaboration, especially like those big, you know, Gamescom events and things like that, where we try to promote each other. It's just an interesting business reality where there are dedicated budgets to essentially your platform, and like from a high-end business perspective, like we're responsible for making sure that, you know, World of Warships is successful, and like we're trying to make sure that all of the budget that we have is utilized in a way that's as efficient as possible for, you know, our business, because the people at the top, like everybody's jobs is kind of resting on their shoulders, and it's a lot of pressure to have, especially when the industry has been such a tough place these last couple of years. So it's scary to dedicate resources to other teams when you know those dollars could theoretically go towards, you know, a better return for your people and the people that, you know, their livelihood is dependent on you. So it's scary to do those collaborations, as much as it would be cool to just like make it one big kind of happy family. It's just like everybody has their responsibilities of taking care of people, you know, within their business section, which it was surprising. But you know, you can see arguments on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the
you got a pink name.
Uh-oh, Baco.
I shoot my teammates a lot.
There you go. But yeah, there's a lot more people. God, a few weeks ago, I was streaming and somebody came in and they're like, "How many people do you think work for Wargaming total?" And I'm like, "About 5 times more than you think." And you know, I think for people to kind of learn more about what exactly it means to build a game and stuff. One of my favorite videos as a player, this is before I was a volunteer or anything for World of Warships, for Wargaming, was when the NA community team just kind of introduced themselves. And, you know, like, here's who we are, here's what we do, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you just put a face behind everybody. And it made it a place that's like, oh, I want to go there sometime. I wouldn't mind working for that company at some point, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. Because if you enjoy the content and you enjoy the game, then everything else just kind of, you know, builds on that, you know?
Yeah, no, and that's something I'm hoping to be able to establish, because the Twitch and a lot of like that content creation aspect is going to be kind of my wheelhouse and domain.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, I think there was something you said earlier about kind of you know, Discord people not knowing kind of whatever it is. It's just because there is kind of individual stakeholdership, and it's not trying to step on other people's toes. Of like that's their, you know, their child. Like I don't want to come in here and, you know, change it. It's, you know, similar how Misty is, you know, she's going to be in charge of the seed program now, kind of moving forward. So it's just like I want to make sure that, you know, if I obviously want to interact with you guys and be kind of visible and stuff like that, but at the same time I want to respect, you know, what her goals are and her, you know, her methodologies and stuff like that, and make sure that we don't feel like we're trying to steal credit from you know, individuals' work, so to speak. But for the, you know, the Twitch stakeholdership, if I, you know, end up getting more control over that, you know, trying to mix up the weekly streams so it's not just gameplay all the time. I know a lot of people are showing up there for that, and I want to respect that. But also just trying to humanize and give credit and spotlight the awesome talent that's in the studio. Unfortunately, it is a little tricky because so much of the dev team is overseas, so I'd have to come up with some innovative methods of doing kind of remote interviews, or maybe like record them in advance, especially with the time zones or something like that. So I'll have to work through the logistics there. But I definitely think, I don't know, as a player, like I'm always interested. Like I think Larry in studio does a fantastic job with just like, I can connect with the guys that are making that game, and like you know, I want to see them success because I feel like I, you know, get to know them a little bit through those little fun videos where they do, you know, I don't know if you played much of Baldur's Gate, but the God, it's like the Dining in Hell or whatever it was, and they had like a giant flaming banquet hall where they just like kind of chat about, you know, the development process, what they're excited for, and you know what the thought process behind stuff was. And if I can kind of do that, or even like little short form videos in Discord, just like come up and do impromptu videos with, you know, people in the office and just seeing behind the scenes and bloopers of the stuff that we're trying to make, just try to humanize us, because that's they're people tear dev teams apart, especially in kind of the free play space. Like everyone thinks it's just about, all right, how much money can we squeeze out of players and stuff like that, when that's not reality, because everybody is really passionate nerds and they have a very small thing that they're specialized in. And yeah, just trying to pull the curtain back a little bit and help people understand of like how much effort goes on a team basis to pull something like this off for as long as it's been going. That's kind of a goal of mine.
Chat, by the way, Snarf just mentioned Misty. For those of you guys who don't know who that is, that's Misty Chu, who was originally brought in as the Latin American CC, or one of them. And obviously I don't need to tell you that she's awesome and doing a great job. So I'm glad that you get to work with her.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to be working with her, and I'm glad there's going to be some of the old guard, so it's not going to be a completely new class. It's kind of feels like a, you know, I just came in as the seniors are graduating, and I'm like the new freshman on the block, and we're going to see kind of what's going to come after here. But yeah, so definitely going to be relying on her experience and the relationships that she's been able to build up with all of you guys over the course of the last few years. I'm very grateful that she's still around. She's a wonderful, you know, like personality in the office environment as well. Like, yeah, she's awesome, peoples. Please don't kill me. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's gonna do it.
A little too late for that.
Yeah. Damn it. Probably should have focused that guy down. It's like it's in the name or something.
I was trying to be your guardian angel, but
I appreciate it. Yeah, I ate a torp sandwich.
That's alright, it happens.
Gotta respect those who can be able to talk and do competent gameplay at the same time.
I mean, you know, going back to what Toxic was saying, you know, it turns into basically just a reflex. It's just you're doing the thing, and you know, that's all. So
yeah, eventually the game does just become like, oh, I'm doing this. Not really thinking about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
It's definitely not there, because usually when I was like grinding through the minnow and everything, I needed to get credit, so I was playing the Bard a lot, and I was like consistently getting like 360 to 450k damage like every single battle, like just by going over there and farming them. And now I was just like, yep, I can't even break 100. This is great.
I just did a 360 run the Mutsu,
There you go.
and I still haven't killed it.
That's hilarious.
I don't know so much about not thinking, but I definitely like my brain process is the shift in, you know, fire my shot and then shift out and like reset the whole map. Like, what's happening? Does anything change since my last time I fired? And then, you know, shifting back in, like kind of re-engage. And I just kind of go through that, you know, that cycle all throughout the game. It's just do what I'm doing, briefly pause, recheck and see if anything's changed, and then go back to doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was like during the interview process, like trying to re-familiarize myself with the game and just try to see everything that was new. Like I was very much more a co-op player, probably threw in like another couple hundred battles, like just in the interview process alone. But it was all in co-op, as I was just trying to like re-familiarize myself with like all the features, kind of what had changed. There was no flooding anymore and a bunch of other stuff. But it's a very comfy game, like if you are playing co-op, where you kind of don't have to focus so much into the random battles and just like, I don't want to screw this up for my team. But just like having, and I kind of see these operations as that as well, it's so comfy just to be playing through one of these, kind of know what you're doing, and then have like a podcast on the side or a TV show or whatever on the other monitor and just like kind of chill out and play. It's been great.
I like to think that I am a good player, but I almost never touch randoms without a division just because I find more comfort in the game just playing PvE. Like I'll play PvP if I'm in a division, but otherwise I'm pretty much playing PvE the entire time.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I can't blame you at all. I do think there are kind of like those two different player boats, and I wouldn't say one's better than the other. It's just like
I just don't min-max my builds for both. Because I know I've submitted PvE operations as Zath, and Zath's like, you should change this about your build, and I'm just like, well, this is just my random battle build.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I wish they bring back hard co-op.
A build is a part of it. Back. You know, it's just a part of your decision making and stuff. So. You know,
so as much as you say that, like I had to, you know, have a discussion with players like in that forum, like we were talking about earlier. It's just like people thinking that even this is like too hard. But again, it's just like how do you strike that balance where
it's hard when your teammates apparently don't understand what the operations goals are and then go gallivanting off when you're like 5 seconds from capturing the point and then you lose the operation because of it.
Yeah. Which is frustrating, right? And the 9 key is funny how much of that's become a meme. But and like also just like the torp dodging and stuff like that. A lot of people think that's like too strong, but you know, if you take advantage of it and you force them to dodge and you get a broadside, or you don't purely just use the guide and you kind of you shoot one at its current trajectory and then you do a couple off the side of the guides where the torps he's going to move into, you can have success. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are always, and that's kind of my philosophy with game design. It's just like, you can't make everybody happy. As soon as you try to make everybody happy, then nobody's really going to have a good time. It's just going to feel kind of like generic slop. So like, it's a tricky thing, but having variety is good. Like, I think having the options for something that's a little easier for those types of players, having something a little bit more challenging for those players that like the challenging, and then just trying to balance that there's enough people in the lobby to not make wait times like 10 minutes per queue.
I don't know how it is for other people, but when I've played co-op, I've ended up basically just using HE, because the way the AI works, I think, is they just want to end up going to the cap, and they're just bowing the whole game.
Yeah.
And so unless you're Belgian, you never end up using AP, and I think that gets you into bad habits when you're playing something like a heavy cruiser.
Sure.
Cough. Definitely wasn't playing through the English cruiser line. Like, I had so many options.
Right. Real quick, Tigatron, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. And you were asking about the topic here. We're currently hanging out with Sir Snarf, who is the newest member of Wargaming's community team for World of Warships. He's out of the Austin office, so he's on the North American side of the world. And he's just popping in, saying hi, asking questions, and we're just kind of shooting the ship, which is kind of fun. So feel free to ask questions if any of you guys have them that you want to bring up or something. No guarantees that Snarf will take on the question or anything like that. He is new after all, remember, so he doesn't know everything about the game, the history, all that kind of stuff.
So here's a question. So speaking of waiting in queue, I'd like to request that Wargaming put a cap on random queues in PTS. Too often we wait 5 or 6 minutes and then get queue dumped into a single human randoms anyway. Just do it at the end of the 3 minutes and be done. That would be interesting to do. I know that is a pretty painful aspect of the queue system right now, is those queue dumps. And then also just like when you get some wonky categorizations. I know, especially like if you're trying to play like a super cruiser or whatever it is, or a super
I was gonna say it happens in most
CV.
super ships if you don't during peak.
Yeah.
Like if someone runs a super ship during non-peak hours, the queue dump is most likely inevitable.
Yeah.
So he's talking about specifically the public test server.
Like,
That's what PTS is.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I need to look at the population density of the public test server, because I mean, I bet comparatively it's very low.
So Cthulhu's talking about...
It is a nice place to test ships you don't have yet, though.
Of course. What Cthulhu's basically talking about is that there are missions to get stuff for your main account if you were to do public test, log in, play certain number of battles, etc., etc. His frustration is that a lot of people come in, they do that, and then they just leave as soon as they're done. So the reality of it is if you don't get into the testing part of it until, you know, let's say 2 days after it's opened up. You sit in the queue forever because you have to do like random battles or stuff like that, and there's just not enough people to sustain actually having games every, you know.
Interesting. So you're saying that like once you go in there and the majority of that wave like for the PT comes through and like you want to get your bonuses. Once they achieve that, then they leave, and then there's just not enough people to get people who are little latecomers.
Yep. So, you know, one of the things that Wargaming's done for tier 5 and below is they have this system where bots will be added to both sides of the matchmaking just to get games. So something like that could be a very easy way to alleviate the problem on the public test server, just so that players like Cthulhu coming in late can get those games and they're not stuck sitting in queue forever.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely bring it up to the team on the feedback. I'll write down some notes because there's been a couple good suggestions today already.
Also,
I'm pretty sure
can't make promises. I can never make promises, but it's
submarines and
something I
co-op
can bring
that
up
you
for sure.
mentioned in the Discord a while ago.
a question that I do have about the public test server, now that it's been brought up, is the Research Bureau line reset function is active, but you can't do anything like buy the legendary modules in the public test server, which feels like if you're doing the Research Bureau stuff in the public test, you would be doing it to see if you want to use the modules.
Autopilot mode enabled.
Interesting. So that's an area that I just don't have enough experience with yet because I've never progressed far enough to actually use the Research Bureau.
I haven't either.
But that would be a great topic for you to put into like a Discord forum chat. So like Killer Ben or Blood Minister or something that can see it and kind of have a bit more of an intelligent answer too, I think.
Yeah.
Alright.
Cthulhu's right. I mean, it's just basically just, hey, you know, you're spending a lot of resources and time to get those resources on these unique upgrades.
Right.
And for a lot of players, they just don't know if it's worth it to them or not.
Autopilot
And so
mode disabled.
that's one of the most common questions I get as a community contributor is, Zath, should I buy, you know, the unique upgrade for Zao or whatever? And it's difficult because it might be a great upgrade for me, but that doesn't mean it's a great upgrade for the player that's asking.
So just I'm writing down some notes here so I can remember because we are off on Monday for Labor Day. So on Tuesday is going to be the next day I can actually, you know, have the meeting with the team and just like offer some of the feedback I got heard over the weekend.
Yeah, no worries.
So it's basically like, would it be possible to add bots to the randoms in the PTS, similar to kind of like the tier 5 and below, just so people have an opportunity to really test out, you know, a new ship's capabilities before it gets onto the live server? Is that a fair summary?
Look what Cronoa said in chat.
And complete their missions, essentially, like ensuring that they can get the things that, so essentially they want to get the carrot that Wargaming's putting on the stick in front of them to do the thing that Wargaming wants them to do, right? Which is get on the public test stuff, because a lot of times public test is looking for last minute game breaking bugs, but it can also be a, you know, litmus test. Is this working okay? Are players liking this, hating it? What's wrong? That kind of thing.
Yeah. No, fair. I've written that down. We'll see if we can go. Let's see. All right, my roommate is back, and I think we're gonna try our hand at beating Night Rain this weekend. So I'm gonna hop back into that. So I really appreciate you guys being as welcoming as you have been, and not burning me at the stake as I'm getting eased into the community space. So I really appreciate you guys. I'm excited to be here, and hopefully can pop by again sometime in the future. And I'm excited for y'all to kind of see me hopefully become a little bit better in the game as the years go by. So we'll see how that goes. But it's awesome to be here right in the beginning.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to come out. And I mean, you had a busy day today with hanging out in the tournament, trying to support the team. It is your day off. And the fact that you're, you know, at home, just like, hey, let's go check out this guy's stream, you know, that we rated 3 hours or 4 hours ago. Like, it says a lot that you're willing to come in and hang out and talk through things, and that you're, you know, brave enough to say, hey, so tell me what's been going on with this game. Because, you know, when you open yourself up to that, sometimes everybody's like, die. You know?
That's the
was
scary
cool.
thing. It's weird coming into to a game that's so established. Like my even career before is like a lot of startup industry and a lot of like new product launches, and so coming in, it is a little intimidating. Like, oh shit, like I don't want to get eaten alive. I don't want to, you know, have people think I'm assuming I know everything, because I don't. So everybody has been incredibly gracious and welcoming and giving good advice and like helping me get onboarded smoothly, which I'm incredibly grateful for. So like, and I never want to be that guy that, you know, starts making assumptions and tries to pretend like I know, but I don't. So I appreciate you guys having patience with me and being as welcoming as you have. It's an incredible community that's been around for this long, and I want to respect all the work and the people that's come before me to make this at all possible. So I appreciate you guys. I'm hopefully going to be here for a long time, and yeah, I really love all the feedback that you gave me that I can start to hopefully start poking the right people about and see if we can make changes. It's going to be a slow process. Anything
Always
that's
is.
built this big, it's like it's moving an aircraft carrier. It's not a destroyer, so it's going to take time to make those changes. But yeah, I think there's a lot of really good suggestions that people have out there, and all I can ask is you guys keep giving that feedback to me in Discord and chats, and I'll be listening and, you know, poking the people as best I can.
Snarf, do you still stream?
I do. I need to do it more often. I think I am going to start picking up some WoW streaming as well on my off time, but also like I'm thinking probably do some Borderlands 4 streaming when that comes out, and some other various you know, variety to the day-to-day. But yeah, so I want to stream more. Started off doing physical pinball streaming of all things. So I have 4 pinball machines in my house, and I'm thinking about buying the new Harry Potter one that came out. So if that comes out, I'll definitely do some streaming of that as well. But so do random stuff over there. It'll be a little bit less formal than the ones I do for the NA streams in the studio. So if you like more chaotic, just rambunctiousness, you're more than welcome to come hang out over there too.
Yeah, sounds good. I just shouted you out, guys.
Thank you.
If you follow Snarf and he's live, please do us both a favor. And if you come in, please don't come in guns blazing. Fix this, fix this, fix this, fix this. If he's streaming because he wants to take a break from his actual job and maybe play boats or a different game. So look at it more as a chance to hang out with somebody that you want to get to know more about, all right?